My name is Andrew Perlot. Welcome to Socratic State of Mind. How to escape the doldrums. More than a change of scenery. The doldrums, we might call it, or malaise. Maybe we can't put our finger on what's wrong, but something's not right. We're unsatisfied, vaguely anxious, and unsure what to do. This is the complaint the Roman knight, Annius Serenus, brought to his teacher, the philosopher Seneca, in On Tranquility of the Mind. Serenus had a lot going for him. He held considerable power as the prefect of the Vigiles Urbani, Rome's night watch and fire brigade. This implies that he was trusted by the Emperor Nero and might go far in life. Yet Serenus complains he, 1. Is tempted by success and prestige, but finds them unsatisfying when he achieves them. Starts doing one thing, but then soon tires of it and wants to go in another direction. Is satisfied with frugal habits when alone, but with big spending friends, he's unsure if his simple life is enough. And finally, he longs for withdrawal and contemplation, but feels restless and unsatisfied when away from the hustle of Rome's movers and shakers. He seems apologetic for bringing this up because things are ostensibly fine in his life, not storm-tossed yet seasick is how he puts it. It is not so much that we are unhappy as that we are not happy enough, he goes on. Most of us have been there once or more. It's practically a rite of passage to feel you're trapped in an inescapable funk at some point. Serenus begs Seneca to tell him, quote, if you have any remedy by which you could stop this fluctuation of mine. The fix is as impactful today as it was in the 1st century A.D. Seneca builds his reply around Serenus's dissatisfaction with fluctuations. He suggests tools for identifying a middle way of tranquility amid the world's turbulence and its many divergent temptations. You might enjoy reading Seneca's full reply, but I'd like to focus on some of his specific solutions and add my own thoughts. Can flux be the solution? We'll begin at the end. After advising Serenus on a course of action, Seneca concludes that it's not flux per se that's the problem. We don't need to be hidebound and unvaryingly regimented, nor always serious and devoted to work. In fact, some degree of flux may be incredibly important for breaking out of the doldrums. He cites wise men who like to dance and drink, and notes Aristotle saying, quote, no great genius has existed without a strain of madness, unquote, the sort that comes about when we let loose. Quote, when the mind despises common and routine things and rises more loftily with divine inspiration, then and only then does it intone something greater than mortal speech. It ought to desert its customary mode and be borne away and bite the bridle and carry off its rider and bear him where he feared to rise. Seneca saves this part for the end because he knows people tempted by inconstancy will use it as an excuse to make poor choices. They're already tempted to be spiritual but not religious, for instance, which I've discussed before, and are happy to compound their problems with additional floundering in all domains if given an excuse. Flux is the spice, not the main meal, but for the people who live in straitjackets, flux might be the cure. So it's worth asking, are you laughing? Are you practicing awe? Both of these I've written about before, links are in the article. A change of scenery. Serenus craves change, but Seneca has some bad news for him. Wherever you go, there you are. If you're miserable in one place or circumstance, you'll probably be miserable in the next situation soon enough. Or, as Seneca wrote elsewhere, quote, you must change your mind, not the sky. Though you may cross the sea, though you may flee to the ends of the earth, your troubles will follow you. That's Letters 28.1. Change is often sensible, but the hope that different circumstances will fix problems originating in our skulls is a timeless delusion. know thyself. Quote, you need to have faith in yourself and believe you are following the right path and not letting yourself be diverted by the cross tracks of people running hither and yon, and of some who even wander around the path itself, unquote. Seneca reminds Serenus that he's already improved his life by embracing philosophy, which Serenus admitted earlier, and so he should have some faith in the process, which takes time. Those other people running after whims, always changing and onto something new, and occasionally inspiring envy from those who are actually on better courses, are often not doing as well as they seem. For modern people without a system of ethics and tools for decision-making, this won't mean much. They might feel like they're the miserable ones running around like lemmings. But there's a layer of know thyself embedded here, and it's implied for everyone. Seneca wants us considering how choices and temptations align or diverge from our principles. Do we know what those are? Reliably living up to our standards brings steady contentment. If we have no idea what's best, we shouldn't be surprised that we can't decide what to do. Misery and vacillation are reasonable expectations when we have no personal standards. We can't confidently set a path without a compass, much less stick to it. But even when we know what's right, temptations and alternate paths always beckon. If you determine one isn't best but are tempted anyway, philosophy supplies several tools. There's Horace's wedge, which is great for fighting FOMO, and decomposition is another, which is about seeing the darker side of our desires. I have links to previous articles I've written about those. Extremes. Seneca acknowledges that extremes are tempting. We want retirement, vacation, freedom from responsibilities, but relentlessly putting our noses to the grindstone and being in the mix might call to us too. If you give in to one extreme or the other, you might end up in some sad places, like the pot-smoking fire guy that I've written about before, and which I provide a link to here. The solution isn't demonizing one or the other. We can use our principles to focus on the type of action rather than obsessing over the scope and impact. What type of action? Justice is the thread we should try to stitch through all our lives. Quote, when a man resolves to make himself useful to his fellow citizens and mankind, he both exercises and advances by setting himself in the midst of public services and administering both shared and private business according to his capacity, unquote. With this common thread running through us, we can pursue it in the middle or on the extremes as reason and circumstances dictate. I write this piece alone, but perhaps it will help a few fellow humans. Later, I will be among people, teaching and learning and helping. Neither is wrong. They're sides of the same coin. Never stop doing good. In advice many historians think is aimed at himself, Seneca suggests those forced from the limelight should not give up on positively affecting the world. Despair over such downshifts in life circumstances will lead us to dark places. Instead, quote, he should selectively find some activity in which he can be useful to the state. He is not allowed to serve as a soldier? Then let him seek office. He must live as a private citizen? Let him be an advocate. He is enjoined to silence? Then let him benefit his citizens with his silent encouragement. Is it dangerous even to enter the forum? Let him play the good companion and loyal friend, and moderate guest in private homes, at the games, and at parties. Has he lost the duties of a citizen? Then let him perform those of a human being, unquote. Choose friends wisely. Don't keep bad company. The unsettled will likely unsettle you and draw you away from a good road. Quote, it is the beginning of disease to mix healthy elements with sickness. Yet I would not advise you to follow or draw to yourself no one except a wise man, for where will you find that person whom we have been seeking for so many ages? Let the least bad serve as the best." Unquote. Money. Don't make money in ways you're ashamed of, and see if you can drag your money-making activities into the light of virtue, which I have written about and I link to here. Seneca's take on money is, quote, "The best measure of money is one that neither sinks into poverty nor departs far from it," unquote. But keep in mind, he was loaded, so make of this what you will. And finally, walk it off. Quote, "The mind is refreshed by walking," unquote. All these solutions are the big picture, but when in immediate need, I admit to having a secret weapon against my troubles that Seneca certainly knew of: walking. As the miles go by, I seem to leave my troubles behind, bit by bit. It's a therapy of the legs baked into us by millennia of evolution. Our anxieties, uncertainties, and anger spool down as our brain waves shift us away from rumination into inspiration and perspective. Since I've already written an ode to walking's many benefits, I'll simply leave the link here, and you'll have to visit my original piece. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you next time.